happiest of Fridays. And welcome to another 5 horror movie fun facts starring me. Today's movie is a little bit of a deep cut. If you're as old as I am, you probably forgot about this movie. That's how deep of a cut it is. But it was one of my favorite movies when I was younger, just for the visual effects. So let's get into it. Today's movie, Altered States, 1980. Fun fact number 1. This movie is the film debut of William Hurt, which is interesting, but also it's the film debut of Drew Barrymore. She was maybe 3 or 4 when she was in this movie. This was the first time she was ever on screen, which is interesting because I didn't know this. I thought that her first time on screen was in E.T. Apparently not. Altered States was her first movie. Fun fact number 2. This movie is based off of a book written by Paddy Chayefsky. And apparently this book was based off of the work of a neuroscientist by the name of John C. Lilly. John C. Lilly was the inventor of the isolation tank. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a tank that is designed to block out all external stimulation. Basically to study the effects on the brain if everything was shut out, you know. The science was eventually used in experiments with dolphins, believe it or not, like in the early 50s or so. The idea being to foster communication between humans and dolphins. Don't ask me what the science is behind the isolation tank and communicating with dolphins, but basically they're connected. And interestingly enough, this particular science was also used in 1973's Day of the Dolphin. Lilly's uncredited for both of these films, but the entire concept is based off of the research that he did. Fun fact number 3. And being that Paddy Chayefsky was the author of the book behind the movie Altered States, you would think that this would be something that he was proud of. You would be wrong. Chayefsky and director Ken Russell were notoriously at each other's throats for the entire time that this movie was being filmed. So much so that Ken Russell reportedly drank heavily while he was directing this movie. According to Ken Russell, Chayefsky just couldn't be pleased at all. Everything that he was doing was wrong. And the gag of that is that the screenplay pretty much, like the dialogue in the screenplay is almost verbatim what the dialogue is in the book. But Chayefsky that wasn't his beef with this story. He was upset at Ken Russell's direction of the actors. He didn't like it that he had the actors being so intense in their performances. And so Chayefsky refused to have his name put on the film and instead had a pseudonym for his name, Sidney Aaron, I believe. But yeah, the rift between Chayefsky and Russell were so deep that when Chayefsky finally, passed away, Russell has been quoted as saying, "My heart leapt up." Which that's some deep hate. That's some deep haterade for you right there. Anyway, fun fact number 4. So the film's themes, especially regarding the dream sequences, have been heavily debated for years. People have suggested that the story is based off of Orpheus and Eurydice or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Even I think that there might be an interpretation that this is a Jesus and Mary myth, but yeah, it's been batted back and forth as to what the actual theme of this movie is. But the only real clue being Chayefsky saying in an interview that this movie is just a love story, which really I feel like that makes all of the interpretations correct in that regard, but maybe that's just me. Fun fact number 5. So the show out of this movie are the visual effects, right? But what is the most interesting thing is that this movie is actually an early version of primitive CGI, specifically of the final scene with this that's happening specifically The bodysuit that both William Hurt and Blair Brown wear in this movie during this sequence um, was kind of superimposed in with a computerized effect, which had to take like a lot for 1980. That had to have been a lot of work for 1980, quite frankly, because computers in 1980 were generally the size of a room. Like there were no home computers in 1980. So yeah, that's today's 5 horror movie fun facts. Join me again next week when I shall have another. Bye.